Are you recording now? All right. So welcome back, listeners, to the Inebri-art podcast. We're just going to record our quick little advert here because, again, we have a sponsor. We are super happy to announce our sponsor for the month of June is Airship Notebooks. They have this really great quality sketchbook that you can purchase. You can go right to airshipnotebook.com and check out their products there. They gave us a whole stack of them to pass out at our life drawing event at the beginning of this month, and all our people were very appreciative. They, I mean, come on, you show up at a life drawing, you get a free sketchbook. How bad's that? So check them out. I dig them, and so thank you again to Airship Notebook. Make sure you go to airshipnotebook.com. Let them know that you heard them on the Inebri-art podcast, and so thank you guys for listening, and here's the episode.
That is pretty close.
We
to
could just call you Special
K.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Special K.
Short bus special.
It's already.
I hate you.
Andy, could you go more than 2 minutes without offending one of the women here? Just for
See, it's not my fault. It's like I try to offend Kristen, and there's just...
And then you realize, oh shit,
Really?
then it just becomes friendly fire.
Listen, I can hold my own. I play in a rock and roll band. There's not much I haven't seen, felt, or been dealing with.
Oh yeah, we're totally recording.
Okay, cool.
Oh, we are?
Oh, yeah. So, welcome back, listeners, to the Inebri-art podcast. I'm your host, Andy. I should start saying that all the time. And I'm here with...
So he realizes he
I have not given my name. And we're back here at the Craft Beer Cellar on Main Street in Plymouth. If you listen to our last episode, I have kind of pulled my shit together after tasting so much hot sauce, because we're recording this on the same day. And maybe I didn't pull my stuff together. I just got a little second wind.
Yeah, and, who broke down and had to have the line
I had to be able to talk. And that is our special guest host, Kristen, not Kitchen.
Hello.
And we are here with Kaile Dutton, who's a visual artist. And we brought her in because she is the first artist who'll be hanging at the Spire Performing Arts Center here in Plymouth.
So exciting.
When this goes up, your stuff will already be up, but we're going to be hanging in 2 weeks, I think. Yes. So,
we're shooting for the 4th of June to hang.
Yes. Right? Yeah. It's a Sunday? No.
I believe it is Sunday, yes.
Yeah. I don't have my calendar's
It's
up
all
there.
good.
They don't need to know when we're hanging. And if you haven't been to the Spire Performing Arts Center, it's a great place to go see a show. They have an open mic there. I just checked it out last week. You were there.
I was there, yes.
And it was great. And so tell us a little bit about your art.
Okay, so I've been an artist pretty much my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last couple of years, I decided to just start painting again. I haven't painted for myself in probably over a decade. And I went through some really awesome life path shifts, and just all of a sudden one night I couldn't stop. So, and I had a couple of friends who were really instrumental in giving me a little bit of that push to go forward to do so. Mm-hmm. And what ended up coming out this time around is totally different than the stuff that I've been doing as a professional artist in the working world.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing right now is acrylic flow abstraction.
Okay.
And acrylic flow art, that kind of thing is starting to become a very popular medium.
I've seen a lot of it online and stuff right now.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Tons. And I've been kind of mesmerized by some of this stuff and thinking, how am I going to make that my own?
Right.
So that's what I've been experimenting with. So what kind of came out started on a journey of personal awareness, introspection, and the art of letting go.
Okay.
It was very an emotional journey. And I had a friend who knew some of the stuff that I was going through at the time and said, why aren't you painting this? And I was like, I can't paint. I have stuff to go through. And then one day I just couldn't stop. So each piece that I've done that's going to be hanging in the gallery right now is a sentiment or an emotion directly based off of the personal introspective journey that I've done. Mm-hmm. And I think it's perfect because the medium, you cannot control it.
Right.
And the journey that I've been on is all about letting go of control.
Well, then that
So
seems
it's
to be
like,
the perfect medium for
it
that.
was like
Yeah.
perfect. And the times that I try and control it, even though I'm really trying to make it my own and kind of do different things with it than other flow artists are actually doing, I had to wipe the paint off the canvas and start again. So it's really been a fantastic teacher for me.
So what kind of paint do you use for that? Because I mean,
I use acrylic.
but not like tube paint because it wouldn't. Does that not? That doesn't really pour.
It doesn't pour. So there's a couple of different. Well, there's many different techniques I think out there, and what I'm always learning every day.
Yeah.
So you mix acrylic with either a pour medium or water. Some people add silicone. They add different elements and solvents, alcohol, and it all does different things with the paint reacting together. And that's what gives you the soupiness of the flow.
Oh, all right.
And then there's different techniques within that. A flip cup, a dirty pour, different things that get you the textures and what they call cellular or lace patterns within that flow.
Okay.
So I kind of pushed that to a different level with adding detailed work going back inside of it. And
so like
using ketchup bottles and different things like that to actually add shapes underneath what I was doing underpaintings underneath. Most people just take a cup, they fill it with some different paints and different solvents.
Yeah.
Pour it on top of the canvas, swoosh it around.
Yeah, I've seen ones where it almost looks like they put the cup or the canvas on top of the cup, flip it upside down,
they
and
do,
pick the cup
and
up.
that's a flip cup pour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a flip cup. So there's so many cool ways to go about this.
Yeah.
And I think just the biggest thing that you need to remember whenever you're working with, this kind of the flow medium is you can't control the outcome. And yes, there are definitely techniques and things that you can think about. Some people have studied recipes, and I absolutely cannot get some of the effects that some of these artists have been studying.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you that the more you do it and the more you try it, like you're going to develop your own style as to what you're doing.
And I'm sure there's a lot of... I don't want to use the term uneducated, but uninformed people who just look at that and go, "Oh, they're doing is pouring paint," but there's a lot more that goes into it.
So much more to it, and I think for me, I'm very spiritual and musical, artistic brain, all of that. So when I sit down to do a painting, for me, I actually think, okay, what vibration am I going to send out right now, and how can I get that energy and that vibration into this painting? And I know that sounds probably a little different than maybe some people's approach, but that's part of like who I am and my path. So I did find myself painting during times of specific emotions or trouble that I was going through while I was trying to heal that process. And people have seen it in the paintings when I say, come over and look at the newest painting. Mm-hmm. And they'll look at it and they'll explain what they see. And a lot of people see the same things.
Yeah.
And explain it without me even having to say, hey, this is what it was. So they're feeling it and sensing it through the color and the motion.
Are you let down when people get something completely different?
Not at all.
Okay.
My philosophy for art is it's not just about the visual. Mm-hmm. So, if you think back to the times where people doing the piece of artwork called the Piss Christ, right?
Yeah.
Art to me evokes some sort of emotional or physical response.
Okay.
I don't always feel like it has to be beautiful. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? It's subjective. So I think, to me, if someone else gets something different out of my painting, then energetically, that's what they're supposed to be receiving from that.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, okay.
So it's more
this is a healing process for me, and I'm creating something super cool and visual for people to enjoy. And if you don't, that's okay.
So it's more about as long as they're feeling something.
Yeah, I think art doesn't always have to be beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think it provokes, and I think it evokes. But that's kind of, I don't know, that's what I think. I don't know.
Well, we're here to find out what you think.
Yeah, thanks.
So you also are a professional art. Like, I don't want to say that you're not professional. You work, your day job
I do.
is art.
I have multiple jobs, and art is the largest.
So what do you do
that.
for that?
So currently I work for a company in Malden, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. I am their resident artist. I do all of their graphic design for their print media, their posters, their signage, and I also do all of their murals.
Nice.
So I'm bouncing back and forth depending on project, because we go through periods of construction, which is why I'm in my painty clothes. And then when the construction is pretty much done and my part of that, section of the facility is finished for that time, I go back into the graphics side to doing logos for them. I'm doing, design work that way, digital multimedia stuff like that. But a huge portion of my work there is murals and like facility art installations and things like that.
So, like in their offices, or?
So I work for Boda Borg, which is a Swedish franchise that's been around for I want to say, I might be mistaken about this, but it's been around for about 20 years. We're the first one that's opened in America and the first one to open in the last 9 years. So we opened October 3rd in 2015. And what we do is something called questing. So I basically help decorate the quests by painting the theme of what that is.
So what it was a quest like?
Yeah, so it's cool. It's like walking around in a live video game. We give you the rules about what you're supposed to do. And each quest is 2 to 4 rooms.
Yeah.
And you go in, you understand the rules of like how stuff works, but it's a physical and mental challenge, and you go in, you have to figure it out.
So is it definitely sounds different, but is it similar to kind of the escape room experience?
It's a similar idea,
yeah.
But I feel that what we do is very different. I would say if we had to liken it to anything, we're a little bit closer to the Five Wits group, and we actually work with them. They're partners with us.
I have no idea what
Five
that
Wits?
is. You're
Awesome.
shaking your head.
I know what that is only because I brought my students there on field
Aren't they
trips.
cool?
I'm a teacher, so we brought them to the ancient Egypt one that they had
the
down
mummy
at
when they had in Fenway.
It's very cool.
Yes, and now they're down in
Foxborough.
Thank you. Yes, Foxborough. They have like
the spies or something.
Yeah,
something.
and under the sea, 50,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or so they do like
they
something
doing
under
that
there.
now?
Yeah.
And so
Very
how
cool.
does that vary from an escape room?
Okay, so what we do is nothing is canned. Nothing is told to you other than, like, you need to know this symbol, you need to know that the rooms are timed, you need to know that these are the rules for questing.
Okay.
Other than that, we set you loose in a themed room, which could be breaking out of jail, which could be like a ninja-style warrior thing.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out the mental challenge as well as produce, sometimes a physicality.
Yeah.
Of what you're doing. So
I think if it's more similar to Five Wits too, it's much more immersive because I've done the escape rooms.
All immersive.
And
they're not immersive.
as immersive.
Yeah.
No.
Amazing stuff.
Yes.
Amazing stuff. We're just offering something that's a little bit different, and we are immersing you in an atmosphere. So if you come and you want to do Alcatraz, it's a jail theme of Alcatraz, and it's decorated and painted to look like you're escaping jails
From Alcatraz.
Huh. So, like, I would come in and I would paint. Five Wits actually did the Alcatraz quest, but so one of the ones that I did there was jungle.
Okay.
I painted 4 rooms, and they're huge. They're like 300 square feet or more each room, 4 walls, and painted the atmosphere to completely look like an immersed jungle.
So it's almost like you're a set designer.
I do a little bit of that, but we do have quest builders who are really a part of how things are placed and this and that, and then I come in consulted for like some of the visual ideas, and I say, okay, we need a mural for this room, this is the theme, and I'm like, okay, how about this, and we'll storyboard, and we bounce things off each other. We're very, very team-oriented there.
It's a very cool job.
It is bitchin'. I'm
Which
super lucky.
when you're like, I work in Malden, I'm like, that's a hike, but now I
that's
get
the
it.
only tough part, but people who have never been to where I am and have seen what I'm doing go, are you exhausted yet? I'm like, yeah, but I make the sacrifice because it's awesome.
Right. Yeah, if it's fun, you kind of don't mind.
And I went to school for art.
Right.
And that's what I get paid to do right now. And how many people say, I get to paint, I get to be supported as an artist, I get to do all this crazy cool stuff, I get to do 3D art installations on the walls.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's pretty
badass. It's a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
We're going to have to check that out because that sounds like a crazy amount of fun.
Definitely should come. You need a team of 3 to 5.
Yep.
3 to 5 people. So come definitely and check it out and let me know when you're coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are there any locations other than up in Malden?
There will be.
There will be, okay.
And that's all I'm going to say.
We will watch for that.
Yeah.
Right now, Sweden.
Right now, Sweden. And there's one in Ireland. And there's one in Ireland.
Yeah.
Road trip.
So, yeah.
Have you got to
super
visit the
cool.
other facilities in Sweden and Ireland?
I haven't yet. I would like to. I've met a lot of the people there because they came to help open up for us. And they were, we're a corporate franchise, so corporate comes in and they help us do the build out, and I've met some incredible people, so I do hope to go there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you ever traveled abroad at all, or
Not to Europe, no.
No?
Just, I think the only place I've been out of the country is Canada.
Canada?
Yeah.
Eh.
I'm not serious.
No,
It's really
Canada's
cool.
pretty fun.
Yeah. But it gave me a lot of inspiration. I mean, part of the other reason why I'm painting now, too, aside from, like, I need to get this journey out, it really brought back my love of painting. Mm-hmm. Being able to do murals at this place really brought back my love of the pull of a brush with the paint on it and the depth that you can get when you're creating, pieces.
And you said you play in a band.
I do play in a band.
And I saw you at open mic, and you didn't perform.
I did not.
Which...
Sometimes it's nice to just be a supporter instead of a performer.
No, what do you play?
I'm singer.
Singer? Nice. What's the name of the band?
Currently, I'm with Catwalk Empire.
And they play locally here in Plymouth? Or?
We are a GB band. So
I'm sorry, you're what?
A GB band, which is general business.
Okay.
So sometimes we focus on weddings and corporate gigs and private parties.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then you'll catch variations of us because we can strip down to a duo or a trio, at different areas down across the South Shore.
Yeah, someone gets offered a gig and be like, "Hey, what are you doing Friday?" That kind of thing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So when did you get interested in the arts? I mean, early on, or was it kind of a...
I come from a very musical and artistic family on both sides. It runs way deep, mother and father's side, all the way into grandparents, aunts and uncles. And I was already creating and drawing when I was a child, very young. And my parents were always amazing people about supporting the arts and music. My parents are both musical. They've been live performers for years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really awesome. So when they kind of saw that this was going on, they always encouraged me. And actually, It was my mom who said, I was going to go to school for music. I wanted to be a musical engineer.
Yeah.
Because I have a really good ear. And she was like, why are you not going to school for art? And I don't know that we can afford to do the Berkeley thing. So can you consider blah, 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 blah. So I did. And I'm actually really glad that I went. Because it brought me experiences to people and where I am now that I would never been able to have.
Yeah. What school did you go to?
I actually went, well, now it's Bridgewater University, but at the time, Bridgewater State College.
I've heard good things about their art program.
Very underrated school. People go, oh, did you go to be a teacher? I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well, that kind of, for some reason, that's what it's known for, but yeah.
It is. That's for years.
It was open as a teaching.
Right.
It was. That's what it was for many, many
But
years.
I mean, I even remember, like, as a kid, I was always involved in music and theater and art and whatnot, and taking field trips to go see plays at Bridgewater. And I mean, they have theater group, they have like a professional theater and the whole nine.
It's incredible stuff. I actually got to do set stuff there with them.
Oh, nice. And that was before it wasn't a university. I'm assuming it's bigger now.
My sister actually minored in art there.
Yeah.
She loved the photography.
Yeah, they have actually really solid photography program. I took some classes there, and I actually was on the student council for a while, and a part of the art department. They have like a head art whatever, and then they wanted student representation, so they asked me to join, and I actually pushed for them to have a photography major. I believe they do now. So I pushed for it and pushed for it and pushed for it because there were so many students who were like, "Why do we not have this?" So I kept bringing it up. And I think that they didn't actually end up putting one in place until quite a few years after I left. So I'm glad it went in because they had some great teachers there. And I don't know, it's very cool. Very cool stuff.
So a lot of what we end up talking about is kind of like what advice you'd have for people coming up, or kids getting started. But I'm going to ask you kind of a different question.
Oh.
And we talked a little bit about it, I think, on the podcast that most recently went up about how, like, my job when I was a kid didn't exist because I work in social media. So that didn't exist as a kid. And you get a lot of parents that, their kids want to be musicians or artists or whatever. And they always kind of, well, that can be, have a backup or so you work professionally as an artist.
I do.
You work in a job that 15 years ago didn't exist. That even now most people would go, oh yeah, someone has to do that. So like, what would you tell parents who has a kid that says, I want to be an artist? And like, as a kid, I wanted to be a comic book artist. And now as I get older, I'm like, yeah, I don't really think this is a good fit for me. But like, if they have a creative kid, like, what would be your advice to them to help that kid?
Well, first, never discourage, despite your own beliefs.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the biggest mistakes that parents can make, and I've seen that with parents and trying to do stuff like friends who have kids, or just being. I actually taught in the school system for a while as an artist. So one of the biggest mistakes I've seen them make is saying things like, "Oh, you'll never be able to do that," or or not encouraging them, because
sometimes it's not even discouraging, because, because they mean it from an honest place, like they don't understand.
But it's their limited belief that they're passing on to someone who's wide-eyed and opened and doesn't have necessarily the same belief. Some of that stuff is learned.
Yeah.
I really do believe that, especially in the healing work that I do. A lot of that stuff is learned, where we come out of where we've been born and brought up and taught and this and that with all of these limited beliefs that hold us back. Mm-hmm. The best advice I can give to parents is, if you see a child with a talent, nurture, nurture, nurture. Give them every opportunity, and try not to be disappointed if it doesn't work out the way you think it should.
Right.
I mean,
because it's not you.
It's not them.
It's your thing. Yeah.
It's not them.
And it's almost like, and I this isn't even necessarily like based on a kid thing. Mm. It becomes, say yes.
Yes.
I constantly have people come like, oh, we need this done. Great, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And like my girlfriend or someone's like, how are you going to do that? I go, I have no fucking idea how I'm going to do that. Right? And then you get it done, and you learn something new.
You do, and I think that's the other thing, is if you have an open dialogue and you're allowing them to process and you're allowing them to think for themselves, not feeding them the answers, but having an open, trusting dialogue, like, so much can come out of that where they're going to figure it out. And I think a lot of parents, like, don't just give that level.
Right.
They think so much for their children. They force them into all of these things that kids are like, I don't know.
It comes from a place of love, but it's like, if you teach your kids to say yes, they're going to learn so much. They're going to be exposed to so many things that you would just never, they'd have a job painting these crazy classrooms that
absolutely. And teaching that failure is okay, because and this is what Boda Borg teaches. You learn through failure.
Yeah.
And failure shouldn't be something that you're afraid of or your whole life is ruined because of. We make choices, we make mistakes, we make decisions, but if you can shift that theory and shift that belief around failure and turn it into something that is all about, you're going to get something out of this, you're going to learn something out of this, and it's going to bring you to the next place. Mm-hmm. So do whatever you need to do, get from it what you need to get from it, and then go to the next step. I think that that's a much better way of kind of looking at things. I did not get to where I am by not working my ass off.
Right.
Nothing was handed to me, and doors that were slammed in my face or didn't work for me, I either kept banging on them or I moved forward away from drama that no longer served me and just followed where I felt like I needed to go. And sometimes, I had some cool opportunities that landed in my lap, and some of them I went, I don't think that's the best choice for me.
But I also feel like those things that land in your lap is because you're out. It's going to sound weird, but you're out making your lap available.
Woo! No, I agree. And that's the other thing, is you have to make yourself available. I agree with that. You have to make yourself available, at least for the opportunity to be presented.
I feel like these people who sit on their couch watching reality television being like, oh, they're so lucky. It's like, they're not lucky. They're just out. They make connections.
I hear that
they work
a lot.
hard.
You're lucky you get to do what I do. You get to do what you do. And I'm like, oh, I am, but I worked for it. I paid a lot of dues.
Like, the words I don't like is lucky and talent. Those two words just rub me the wrong way.
It's hard.
Because I feel like talent is just so... It's like, it's not talent.
Do you feel it's subjective?
I feel it's subjective. I feel it is someone who doesn't realize how much work you put in.
Yeah.
It's someone going, oh, you know how to draw, you're so talented. It's like, no, I learned how to draw.
Yeah. There is something I feel to be said for some natural talent, but I feel like if you don't embellish on that or train on that, you stay where you are.
Yeah.
So you might have a natural tendency to be super good at drawing or super good at playing the keyboard or the saxophone or whatever it is that you're doing.
Eating
but
hot
if you
sauce?
Don't, right, and eating hot sauce. But if you don't
eyes
practice,
are still watering.
Oh my god, I'm good. All I know is I'm sad I didn't get hot sauce.
There's some right here.
Ooh.
And we have tasting spoons. You want to taste some?
Heck yeah. What do you got?
So we're going to, harken back to our previous episode, because why not?
This is the mild, so that's what she should start with.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie.
Has to have mild.
As a designer, these labels are pretty badass.
They're pretty sweet, right?
That's awesome.
So
who did those?
the thing that turned me on this company is called Boston Ballistic, for anyone who missed our episode last week. I stumbled across this guy on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, Boston Hot Sauce, and then he's from West Bridgewater, and it's a cool design, so I shot him a message.
For real.
So this is the...
do you have the mild?
This is the mild. And
I'm all about the spice.
This is created by David Flip is his name.
Okay, cool.
And there's the mild.
All right, thank you.
It's not so mild. It's pretty spicy.
It's the mild.
Yes, that is the mild. Oh, shit, I got it on my hands. Can I get some tissues?
See, now I like spice.
Yeah.
I'm not
Good, right?
But it tastes good, right?
I would never suggest that would be mild, but it's
Oh, this
amazing.
is the mild. That's not the mild.
What? Did
What?
you not give her the
No,
mild?
this is the mild. I moved it. I put it over here.
Wait, which one is this one?
I don't know what one that one is.
That is
Is-
Newbury Street Nightmare.
Yeah.
That's the hot,
This is the hot one. So
Yeah,
this is the
that's the
medium?
original
and that's
recipe.
the original.
I was like, there's no way that's mild.
No, this is mine. This is the one you had.
That's the one
That
I
was
had.
the mild.
That's mild.
It's got an awesome flavor, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not mild.
no.
It goes up
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
I think of like Pedro's salsa is
Do you know?
mild.
But you know what's funny is
That's
like
awesome.
I feel like heat-wise, I didn't feel like there was a huge variation in the
got
sauces.
heat.
Oh yeah, it does, but it's not
Wait,
like
is this the evil like?
that's the
Fry
original.
Original. That's the.
This is the nightmare.
Yeah.
This is the hot one.
But like I didn't feel there was a huge step up in any of the sauces until we got to the extract, which he took with him because hazmat would have to come in and take that out.
The extract was rough.
But again, it's got
see,
a
that's sweeter.
it's got really
That
nice
one's
flavor.
sweeter.
Yeah, they're really tasty.
Oh, it's hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No shit.
But I
it's
think
hot.
I don't feel like the heat between this one and the other one is any different.
That's what I was saying. Like I didn't feel like a big.
That's just
Yeah.
sweeter to me.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
they're
I want that
all
on my
they're
eggs.
they're tasty. Yeah. So
Really
you might
good.
as well hit the third one.
So
since-
this one is
That's
the
the hot one. Shake it up though.
rock your socks
shake it
off.
up.
Yeah.
now the rock your socks off was the extract. That was
Oh, that was rough.
yeah. That
Holy
was
moly.
They all smell really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're tasty.
The spices and everything. I want to actually. I'm a Bloody Mary fan.
Oh, these would be
I'm
great.
all
a Bloody
about
Mary.
sampling Bloody Marys,
Yeah.
and I feel like I want to. This is my nip to bring to the bar. This is awesome. So this is a super hot one. All right, ready?
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. All right, there's a little more heat on that.
Yeah, it's
There's a little more heat on that.
but it's not a huge step up.
It's enough though.
Oh yeah, and it builds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I dig it though. I dig it.
yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home later and be like, "Hey, baby." It's awesome.
And actually, before he left, he was talking to Tatum. They may be working something out and carrying it here in the beer cellar. So
Right on.
yeah, so it's
That's good
So
stuff.
you're part of the community down here in Plymouth.
I am, yes. I grew up in Plymouth, so
Did you?
I did.
So how I'm not a born and bred Plymouthian. That's a word, right? Don't look at me. Plymouthian.
Yeah, I don't know. I call myself a Manamation. I grew up in Manamat.
Oh, okay. So how do you compare the art and music? Yeah, right there.
That's just kicked in. Like
That little line.
hiccups.
Yeah, there's limes here. If
Oh,
you-
yeah.
some of them.
He was talking
Yeah,
about that.
some of these. Oh, here we go.
Yep, he was right.
So
David,
there's a
Yeah.
clean one,
I
right?
definitely
There's a
have
clean
hiccups.
one right there.
Thank you. I'm gonna eat it too, but
Yeah. Oh, definitely do it. Yeah, we were just chewing on them. So how would you compare the art and music community now as opposed to when you were younger?
it's completely different.
Yeah, in a positive way.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally positive way. So, I mean, my parents moved here in the 70s. I've been here since I was 2.
Yeah.
And I've seen this go from podunk town with Purity Supreme and Butners, for where you like shopped for clothes and shopped for food, and that was it. Mug and Muffin was where you went and got your coffee. To a booming downtown, really kind of hip place where people really want to be. I'm so sorry, David. Thank you. Your hot sauce is amazing. Now I
Yeah,
have hiccups.
I believe I think the last thing I said to him
Holy
was,
moly.
"Thanks for coming, kiss my ass."
But it's totally different now. I've been playing music live since I was a child, and professionally in bands since I was probably 16. So seeing how that's shifted to just, you can go to every downtown bar in Plymouth at any point in time during the week and the weekend, and there'll be somebody performing and doing something. And
Yeah.
it's become super community oriented, people who are very connected and uplifting. There is a lot of talent to be seen here. There's a lot of talent that's not being recognized. And I think people always want to go to the metropolis or and I'm thinking to myself, you have no idea what's right here in your own backyard.
Yeah, I moved down here 6-8 years ago-ish, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
The talented people just keep blowing me away.
It's amazing.
And kind of part of why we started this podcast is just like we knew so many cool people, and it's like, let's sit down and talk.
It's an awesome community.
And the one, I think you might have missed him. He played first at opening mic, and like I looked at him, I'm like, God, that kid looks familiar and tall. And when they introduced him, we actually had him on the podcast. His name's Jack, and he's like 15, 16, and he was unbelievable.
This is the kid who plays like Steve Ray Vaughan or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I was so bummed that I missed him.
Yeah.
Because my sweetie and I were hanging out. He goes, see that kid? And I was like, yeah, give me a scoop. He was like, unreal.
Yeah.
Nothing but, and he said, plays just like Steve Ray Vaughan.
And then and then hung out the entire night.
Did.
And he was the youngest person by 40 years and like just grooved out and dug everyone and the support in this community is just amazing.
That's the cool thing that I'm finding too about the musical aspect that's coming up down here is I feel like the scene really struggled for a while.
Yeah.
And I kind of left for a little while seeing like the way bar owners were treating musicians, the way that they didn't want to pay for talent, the way like it really shifted for a while. And I also found like open mics who didn't want to be open to all the different kinds of music and all the different kinds of ages. And I feel like down here, you can go to almost any open mic and you're going to find a plethora of ages, a whole wide range of different talent.
Yep.
And everybody's playing something different.
And everyone's respectful and listening.
And listening.
And it's not like they play, pack up their guitar and leave.
No.
You know, everyone hangs out. And
yeah, it's very cool.
That was the first one I was to at the Spire, and I really dug it. It was a really great vibe.
Very cool.
Amazing musicians. And they had taco and sushis.
Yes.
So that was great. This week they're having Mamma Mia's. That's the word. So for our listeners, if you haven't had Mamma Mia's, get to Mamma Mia's. They're all over the place. It's great food.
Yeah.
So there's something interesting, because I feel like since I've moved to Plymouth, I've become a bit of a food snob. And
I was a food snob before. I mean, it got cool here.
Well, the funny thing
That's
is,
my
like,
mom. She's a great cook.
the funny thing is, like, I started hanging out in Plymouth at Fridays. Like, that was like the big hangout.
Yeah.
And then people that we knew stopped working there, so we stopped hanging out there. And then we opened up to like Main Street, and was like, oh my god, there's so many cooler places.
Yeah.
And there's a big number of corporate places that are now opening up.
Yeah, like Waxy. The bigger,
like Texas Roadhouse, and Cheesecake Factory, and what's the other one? Buffalo Wild Wings is going in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you feel like that's a detriment, or do you just feel like that's part of the tourist?
I think. I mean, a lot of those are on the outskirts of downtown.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that it's a detriment. I do get, and this is my own silly little fear, because I'm totally like a barefoot dirt bike girl who wants to hang out in the woods all the time with campfires. And I want Plymouth to enjoy all the wonderful things that we have here, but I do worry about the population and like people coming in and trying to change what it is because of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I get a little nervous about that kind of thing, but I haven't seen it where it's taken away from anything, because now we have
because Plymouth is
music.
fucking huge.
It is huge. It's a huge county.
Yeah.
Gigantic. But where all of this stuff is going on is a closer knit circle that stretches a little bit into that Kingston area, starting to push a little bit into Carver, but not much.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it put a detriment on the area, I would say. I mean, the biggest things that we've gotten out of it are the music. I mean, there weren't art galleries down here before. There weren't, like, cool, hip clothing things. You wanted any of that kind of stuff, you had to go to Boston.
Right.
Anybody who knows the South Shore knows that South Shore people don't want to drive off the South Shore, especially Cape. Like, not really.
It's a pain in the ass.
Exactly. So, it's definitely done some good things for popularity. It's given people a lot more choices, and they can still stay comfortable in the area that they love so much.
So, you had an opening at the Spire, and there's like 4,000 people there. It was amazing. So what's next?
keep making the magic.
Are you going to continue on with this pouring art, or do you have something else that's
I'm
in the back of your mind? That
I'm definitely someone who's not afraid to evolve or shift or change things up. I just feel like I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I'm a healer, and I will continue to do things within those veins, and hopefully people will enjoy what I'm doing. I've always gravitated, as far as painting is concerned, towards abstraction. Yes, I can do idealism and realism in that way.
You've been to our life drawings.
I love them. So awesome, yeah. And I think that those things have their place, but when I paint for fine art and I paint for galleries,
yeah.
I don't have hobbies, I have passions. I'm painting and I'm doing everything that I do from my heart.
Yeah.
So that's where I will continue to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is there a place that people can go online to see your work? Or your music, or...
Sure. I mean...
plug your many endeavors.
Oh, well, I'm a little bit... I wouldn't say that I'm like a social media guru or anything. I am planning on setting up an artist page on Facebook, because that's where everybody connects. And right now, I just have a personal page, where... That's where I showcase a lot of stuff for my family and my friends, and a lot of the things that I do, commissioned work, logos, it's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
I have a lot of like side clients that I do, and it's literally people are just handing business cards and saying, "Go to her because she can do this for you." So that's kind of how I've been doing things. I've been quiet about it.
Networking is, especially for me, has been like the most powerful. Mm-hmm. It's funny. My dad used to always say that every job he ever got, he got out of a bar room.
That's awesome.
And I mean, he worked in like construction and manual labor, but I feel like that is really valid. I mean, those are kind of like when your guard's down, that's where you get to meet the person, and you're not there doing your 15-minute, interview. And I've gotten some jobs that way.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you. I've met some amazing people, because I'm someone who's not afraid to like go to dinner by herself.
Yeah.
Or like just sit at the bar and shoot the shit with a stranger.
Yeah.
I totally dig on that.
Well, last night someone stopped me. She's like, "You used to sit at the bar at Luciosa's and draw," and I'm like, "Yeah, I did." Weirdo.
You just never know what you're gonna get, and you do. I've gotten clients that way too, and it's just.
I've gotten clients. And it's sometimes it's a client thing. Sometimes it's literally someone who is like, "Draw me this," and you're like, "Whatever," and you draw it, and they pick up your check. I've had that, or buy you a shot or something, and you're like, "It's the best night ever."
And you see, that's kind of that stuff about just being out there and like going out there and just putting it out there because you're just being yourself.
Yeah.
But you're doing it openly.
Yeah. It's like, this is who I am. If I was at home eating dinner, I'd be drawing on my sketchbook. So I'm out having dinner, and I'm drawing on my sketchbook. That's awesome. And I've had some really weird interactions. But they make for great stories.
Yeah, they do.
It's the whole... it's never a bad thing. It's usually interesting.
So cool.
So I think that is close to time-ish.
Cool.
Do you have anything else to add, or
just a huge thank you for putting up the ad, because I contacted you guys about kind of helping me do some work as far as hanging and things like that.
Yeah.
And I had known about Inebri-art because I had been starting to go to your events. And just thank you for having me and reaching back and
we're not even recording this.
That's okay.
It's not going up.
That's fine. But I'm still saying thank you, regardless if we're recording or not.
No.
But I would be like, we need people like you guys in the community to help people like us.
Yeah.
And it's again, it's that support
and to us, it's that sounds like fun. Yes, let's do that.
Cool.
As it should be. Yeah, and I almost forgot. I have a sketchbook here for you.
What?
This is from our sponsor this month called Airship Notebooks. They make notebooks and sketch pads. So they wanted us to bring in visual artists this month and give them sketchbooks.
So cool.
So got
Thank
one
you.
for you. And thank you to Airship Notebooks for sponsoring us.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, you can like us, comment, subscribe. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. You can go to our website, Inebri-art.com. Check out our calendar of events. I think it's up to date. It's mostly up to date. And if you have questions, comments, wondering why we're still sniffling and our eyes are watering from the previous episode.
I stopped hiccuping them.
Yeah. You can go back and listen to that episode. Or you can send us an email. I can't wait for the first email. It's going to happen, and I'm going to read it on the air. So regardless of what you send us, I'm going to read it. So there's a little challenge for you. And it's Inebri-art@yahoo.com. You can find that at the website. You can message us through Facebook. And... No, the burps are coming on. I was doing so good. Thank you, Kristen, for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Thank you. Kayla.
Kayla. God damn it. I was so close. So close.
That's okay.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Kayla. Damn it. It's hot sauce. Burnt my tongue. I can't speak.
Right.
Thank you, Kayla, for
you,
coming and hang
Andy.
out with us. And we'll see our listeners next. Well, our
and
listeners.
come to the Spire.
Yes, come to the Spire.
Spire
Check
CD
out.
opening.
It's going to hang for 3 months, so
It
it'll
is
be
gonna
up
hang
till
for
like
3 months.
August-ish.
Yes. And they're all different sizes.
Yeah, and there's great music there all the time. I think like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, almost every weekend. So you can go to the Spire Performing Arts Center website. I don't know what it's probably the Spire Center or something like that. You can Google it. Get information on who's playing and tickets. And thanks again for listening.
Cool. Thanks, guys.